Thinking about unlocking your future in English-speaking countries like Australia, the UK, the USA, Canada, or New Zealand, for so many people, the PTE academic test is, well, it's that crucial key. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really zeroing in on the PTE academic for 2025. Think of this as your complete guide, packed with the latest info you need.
Exactly. We've sifted through quite a lot of material, looking at common mistakes people make, the updated exam pattern for 2025, how the scoring works, the syllabus, study plans,
All the essentials.
all the essentials, and exam day tips, too. The idea behind this deep dive is really to pull out the most critical information. We want to give you a clear, actionable understanding of the 2025 PTE without, completely drowning you in details.
Okay, so maybe for someone new to this, what is the PTE academic, just in a nutshell?
Right, so basically PTE Academic is a computer-based test. It measures your English skills, speaking, writing, reading, and listening.
Standard 4 skills.
Standard 4 skills, yeah. But what's quite interesting is that it uses artificial intelligence, AI, to do the scoring. This potentially makes it more objective, some find,
Okay.
and it's accepted really widely. Universities, governments, employers, all across the big English-speaking countries. Plus, a huge benefit, you usually get your results back super fast, typically within 48 hours.
Wow, 48 hours. That definitely takes some of the waiting anxiety away, doesn't it?
It really does.
So, looking at 2025, what's the exam pattern like now? Are there any big headline changes we should know about?
Well, the core is still there, but they've made some tweaks, mostly aimed at making it a bit more user-friendly, I think.
Yeah.
The big one is the time. It's now about 2 hours total.
2 hours, down from 3.
Exactly, down from 3 hours previously. So that's a pretty significant change. It's still got the 3 main parts, speaking and writing combined, then reading, and finally listening. Across these, there are 20 different question types spread over 4 modules. Still computer-based, still AI scoring, and the score scale is the same, 10 to 90 points. And importantly, many tasks mix skills together, integrated skills, which reflects how we actually use language day to day.
A shorter test that's definitely appealing. Aside from the timing, were there other, fundamental changes to the pattern itself? Fewer questions overall, maybe?
Yes, exactly. With the shorter time comes fewer questions overall. They've sort of recalibrated the distribution of those questions across the different sections. The goal was to keep it balanced, making sure all skills are still tested properly and that it still reflects real-world, especially academic, language use.
Makes sense. All right, let's dig into the sections then, starting with that combined speaking and writing section. What's involved there?
Okay, so speaking and writing. This part takes about 54 to 67 minutes. For the speaking bit, you start with a personal introduction. That part isn't scored. It's more of a warm-up and voice check. Then you get into the scored tasks. Read aloud, repeat sentence, describe image, retell lecture, and answer short question.
And the writing part?
The writing tasks are summarize written text. That's where you read a passage and have to condense it into just one sentence, between 5 and 75 words.
One sentence. Wow.
Yeah, requires precision. And then there's the essay. You get 20 minutes to write an essay of 200 to 300 words.
Okay, so for this whole section, what are the really critical things? What should people focus on to do well?
For speaking, definitely clear pronunciation and good fluency, a natural, steady pace. Grammar matters too, of course. Oh, and a key technical point. If you pause for more than 3 seconds after the microphone starts recording, it just shuts off.
Oh, wow. Okay. Good to know. No long thinking pauses then.
Exactly. You need to keep the flow going. For writing, the essay needs to be well organized, clear arguments, good examples, and those word counts we mentioned. They are absolutely critical. Sticking to them is non-negotiable.
Yeah, you mentioned for the essay, if you're way under or over, you get 0.
That's right. Under 120 words or over 380 words for the essay means a 0 score for that task. And for summarized written text, it has to be between 5 and 75 words. Summarized spoken text later on is 50, 70 words. Precision is key. Even small things like punctuation can affect your score. Reviewing is important.
Definitely sounds like attention to detail is vital. Okay, moving on to reading. What's the setup there?
Reading is much shorter, just 29 to 30 minutes. The tasks here include reading and writing. Fill in the blanks, that's an integrated skill one. Then multiple choice, multiple answers, reorder paragraphs. Reading, fill in the blanks, this one's just reading. And multiple choice, single answer.
And what skills are most important for tackling the reading section effectively?
Reading speed is a big one. You need to be efficient. Expanding your vocabulary obviously helps, and just general comprehension skills. Paying attention to context clues, how sentences link together, that's vital. especially for reorder paragraphs. Looking for those linking words like however or furthermore and spotting topic sentences or concluding ideas, they really are like signposts, helping you put the paragraph back in the right order.
Got it. So looking for those structural clues. Okay, and the last section, listening.
Listening takes around 30 minutes. It's quite varied. You've got summarized spoken text, listen and write a 50-70 word summary. Then multiple choice, multiple answers, fill in the blanks, listening version, highlight correct summary, multiple choice, single answer, select missing word, highlight incorrect words, and write from dictation.
A lot of different tasks there. What are the best strategies for this section?
Good note-taking is really helpful while listening. You want to catch keywords, main ideas, maybe notice transition words the speaker uses. Paying attention to stress and intonation can also signal what's important. And for that summarized spoken text task, the key is to paraphrase. Don't just try to copy chunks of what you heard. You need to show you understood it by putting it in your own words within that word limit.
Okay, paraphrasing, not transcribing. Makes sense. So we've got a good picture of the structure now. You mentioned common mistakes earlier. What are the absolute classic pitfalls people fall into that prevent them getting high scores?
Yeah, there are definitely recurring themes. One huge one is rushing through the speaking parts. People think speaking fast equals fluency, but often it just hurts clarity and your pronunciation score. You want a balanced, natural pace.
Not too fast, not too slow.
Exactly. Another is using too many filler words, those O's and ums. They creep in when you're nervous or unsure. Practicing with maybe some simple templates or structured answers for things like describe image can sometimes help reduce that hesitation.
Using templates for speaking, that's an interesting approach.
It can provide a bit of a safety net, yeah.
Yeah.
Gives you a framework. Other common mistakes include basic vocabulary and grammar errors. Punctuation counts. Also, as we keep saying, not sticking to word counts. That's a big one for writing.
Right, those limits again.
And pausing too much or for too long in the speaking section, especially because of that 3-second microphone rule. And finally, something surprisingly common. People just don't check their answers. Even a quick review at the end of a section can catch simple errors.
This seems like low-hanging fruit, right? If you have a minute spare, just quickly scan.
Absolutely.
Are there any section-specific blunders that pop up frequently?
Oh, definitely. For reading reorder paragraphs, like I said, people often don't pay enough attention to those connector words or how topic sentences work. They just try to guess based on vague meaning. For listening summarized spoken text, the classic error is copying phrases directly instead of paraphrasing. In speaking describe image, some people try to memorize generic descriptions. If your description doesn't actually match the image shown, you'll score very low, maybe even 0. You have to describe what you see. And for the writing essay, consistently writing too little, say under 200 words or way too much over 300, is just throwing away marks.
Got it. Actively avoiding those seems key. So let's talk about the scoring itself. You said it's 10 to 90, but it's not a simple average, is it?
No, it's not. That total score reflects your overall English ability. It's calculated in a more complex way. Your skills are assessed in 2 categories. First, communicative skills. That's your score in speaking, writing, reading, and listening that you see on the report.
Right.
But behind those are the enabling skills: grammar, oral fluency, pronunciation, spelling, vocabulary, and written discourse. You don't get separate scores for these enabling skills in the final report anymore, but they directly contribute to your communicative skill scores.
So even though I don't see a grammar grade, my grammar mistakes will pull down my writing score, for instance.
Precisely. Think of them as the building blocks. Strong enabling skills lead to strong communicative scores. The scoring itself can be either correct or incorrect for some simple items, or it can use partial credit.
Partial credit, how does that work?
Well, take read aloud. If you read most of it correctly but stumble on a word or two, you won't lose all the marks. You get partial credit based on how much you got right. Same for repeat sentence. The more words you repeat correctly and in the right sequence, the more points you get. For some tasks, like describe image and retell lecture, there's actually a human element too. While AI does the primary scoring, human reviewers might check content relevance to ensure the AI scoring is fair.
Ah, so a bit of human oversight on the more open tasks. That's quite sophisticated.
It tries to blend the efficiency of AI with human judgment where needed. It's also worth knowing that PTE scores line up with international standards, like the CEF or the Common European Framework of Reference, and they provide score comparison tables for IELTS and TOEFL IBT as well.
That's really useful for context, comparing it to other tests people might know. Okay, so knowing all this, what's the best way to prepare? And any crucial tips for the actual test day?
Preparation really comes down to practice, practice,
Mhm.
practice. Consistent, focused practice. Use the official PTE materials if you can. They're the closest to the real thing. Get really familiar with all 20 question types. Don't just focus on your weak areas. Practice everything.
Makes sense.
Work on your general academic English too, vocabulary, grammar, and try to simulate test conditions when you practice. Sit for 2 hours straight. Use a headset, time conditions. It builds stamina and reduces surprises on the day. Some providers, like PTE Magic for instance, even offer courses promising results in like 30 days.
Okay. And for the day itself?
Get there early, reduces stress, have your ID and booking confirmation ready, get a good night's sleep beforehand, have a decent breakfast, little things that make a difference.
Right.
Try to relax a bit before you go in. Read every instruction on screen carefully. Pace yourself. Don't get bogged down on one hard question. Focus on maximizing points where you feel confident. Stay positive. And if you finish a section with time to spare, use it to review your answers.
Good advice. Familiarity and time management seem key.
Absolutely. Knowing the format inside out removes a layer of stress. Practice managing your time strictly. Minimize distractions when you study. And use that note-taking strategically, especially for listening and some speaking tasks like retail lecture.
Excellent. Now, we've talked structure, prep. What about the actual content, the syllabus for 2025? Is it just those question types we listed?
Pretty much, yes. The syllabus is defined by those three main sections: speaking and writing, reading, listening, and the specific question types within each that we've gone through. The key philosophy behind the syllabus is testing real-life English skills needed for academic settings. It uses those integrated tasks heavily to see how you combine skills.
So it's not just testing grammar rules in isolation.
Exactly. It's about applying English in context. Grammar and vocabulary are assessed through the tasks, not in separate sections. It's always a good idea, though, to double-check the very latest syllabus details on the official PTE website before you lock in your study plan. Things can always have minor updates.
Good point. Always check the official source. What about the online version? PTE Academic Online or PTE at Home? Is that still an option?
Yes, it is. The PTE Academic Online Test is available. It uses the exact same format, same question type, same scoring as the test center version. It offers flexibility, obviously, taking it from home.
Oh, there's a catch, right?
The big catch is acceptance. You must check if the specific university or organization you're applying to accepts the online version. Not all of them do, or policies might differ. So always verify that first.
Crucial step. Don't assume it's accepted everywhere. Okay, talking about acceptance and targets, what kind of scores do people typically need? And who accepts PTE generally?
It really varies. For, say, an Australian student visa, you might need somewhere in the range of 42 to 50, maybe higher depending on the specifics. For skilled migration, the bar is often higher, perhaps 65 to 79 plus.
Right.
University admission also varies a lot by course and institution. You could be looking at anything from around 58 up to 79 or even more for very competitive programs. As for who accepts it, it's widely recognized. Universities and colleges in Australia, the UK, Canada, the US, New Zealand, immigration authorities in Australia, the UK, and New Zealand accept it, plus lots of professional bodies and government organizations worldwide.
So pretty broad acceptance, especially in those key countries. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the absolute key takeaways for anyone thinking about or preparing for the PTE academic in 2025?
I'd say number one, PTE Academic is a really important test if you're aiming for study, work, or migration in major English-speaking countries. Number two, the 2025 format is shorter, more streamlined, but still thoroughly tests all skills. Three, knowing and actively avoiding those common mistakes is vital for a good score. Four, understanding how it scored the communicative and enabling skills, partial credit helps you approach the test smarter. And finally, number five, solid, consistent preparation using official materials is absolutely your best bet for success.
Excellent summary. And building on that, here's something maybe for you, our listener, to think about. We're seeing this shift toward shorter, AI-scored language tests like the updated PTE. How might this wider trend change the whole landscape of standardized testing in the future? And how might it affect the ways we prove our skills for these global opportunities down the line? Something to mull over.
Definitely an interesting thought. Well, thank you for joining us today as we explored the PTE Academic. Hopefully this gives you the clarity and confidence you need for your own PTE journey.